You would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon.
You're not going to believe what just happened. The View is in absolute chaos. Advertisers are pulling out, executives are scrambling, and rumors are swirling that this might be the end of the show as we know it. And the reason? Carrie Underwood just walked away with a jaw-dropping $1 billion after crushing them in court. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's a reckoning. But how did a simple performance turn into one of the biggest media takedowns in history? How did a country music superstar bring a network giant like ABC to its knees? And more importantly, what happens next? Stay with me because this story is just getting started. It all began with an invitation. While most celebrities ran for the hills, terrified of backlash, Carrie Underwood did something no one expected. She took the stage at Donald Trump's second inauguration and performed America the Beautiful. Just a song, right? Not according to The View. For Underwood, it was never about politics. She saw the performance as an opportunity to bring people together through music, a moment of unity in an increasingly divided country. But as soon as she finished the final note, the firestorm began. The very next morning, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and Sunny Hostin ripped into her. They didn't just criticize, they attacked. They painted her performance as an endorsement of hate, questioned her intelligence, and even warned that Nashville and Hollywood would turn their backs on her. It was a full-scale media assault. They claimed her career was over. They argued that by simply standing on that stage, she had aligned herself with a president they despised. Social media erupted with hashtags calling for boycotts of her music. Industry insiders whispered that she had made an irreversible mistake. For Underwood, the attacks weren't just words. They were an existential threat to everything she had built. The music industry thrives on public perception, and The View had just painted her as an outcast. The message was loud and clear. Carrie Underwood's career was over, but they had no idea what was coming next. At first, Carrie did what she always does. She stayed focused on her music, refusing to engage in political fights.
John Rich weighed in, saying there are several top-tier country artists who support Trump, and I wish they'd finally have the balls to come forward and be counted. Ain't nothing outlaw about keeping your mouth shut to appease the record label. Carrie Underwood is making you look like a bunch of sissy boys.
But behind the scenes, her team was watching, taking notes, saving receipts. They carefully documented every interview, every social media post, and every defamatory statement. The backlash wasn't just online outrage, it had real consequences. Major sponsors quietly distanced themselves, some refusing to renew deals that once seemed ironclad. Radio stations hesitated to play her songs, unsure if aligning with Underwood would lead to their own PR disaster. Concert venues dragged their feet on booking her, afraid of potential backlash from the media. The shift was palpable. The coverage of her music became secondary to the controversy. Journalists weren't talking about her vocals, her performances, or her songwriting. They were fixated on the fallout. Headlines screamed about her so-called political stance, drowning out discussions about her actual artistry. Industry insiders whispered that Underwood had made the biggest mistake of her career. Some speculated she might even fade from the spotlight, just another artist caught in the crossfire of a media war. But Carrie? She didn't crack. Instead of responding with a hasty statement or a defensive interview, she remained silent, calculated, unshaken. But that silence? It wasn't weakness, it was strategy. And then, out of nowhere, Carrie Underwood made a power move no one saw coming. She didn't just push back. She dropped a $1 billion defamation lawsuit on The View and its parent company, Disney. The claim? They knowingly spread false and damaging statements to destroy her reputation, impact her career, and alienate her from her fan base. This wasn't just a demand for damages, it was a declaration of war against reckless media attacks. ABC's lawyers fought tooth and nail to get the case thrown out. They argued that the comments made on The View were merely free speech and political commentary, protected under the First Amendment. But Underwood's legal team came locked and loaded. They weren't just making accusations, they had evidence. Then came the bombshell. Leaked internal emails exposed ABC executives for orchestrating the attack on Underwood, not as an organic reaction to her performance, but as a deliberate media takedown designed to generate controversy and boost ratings. The emails revealed direct orders from top-level ABC producers encouraging the hosts to push a specific narrative against Underwood, painting her as a divisive figure in entertainment.
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't do it, even though I
You
can't
would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon.
Former ABC employees stepped forward with even more damning revelations. Insiders claimed that The View's producers routinely manufactured outrage to create viral moments, regardless of the truth. Some even admitted that Underwood had been singled out for attack simply because she didn't fit the mainstream Hollywood mold. And the court wasn't having it. The evidence was overwhelming. What ABC tried to brush off as simple opinion was, in reality, a coordinated character assassination. The judge refused to dismiss the case, signaling that this wasn't just about one show. This was about media accountability on a larger scale. What started as a performance had now escalated into one of the most high-profile defamation lawsuits in entertainment history. And as the trial progressed, it became clear. This case was bigger than Carrie Underwood. It was about sending a message to an industry that had, for too long, operated without consequence. The ruling came down hard. The court didn't just side with Underwood, it obliterated The View's defense, slamming them with a historic $1 billion judgment. The decision sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, setting a precedent that reckless defamation in the name of political commentary would no longer be tolerated. The impact was instantaneous. ABC executives panicked. Legal teams scrambled to assess the damage, while crisis managers rushed to control the narrative. Behind the scenes, network insiders described the mood as full-blown meltdown mode. Advertisers weren't waiting around to see how things played out. Major sponsors began pulling their deals, worried that staying attached to The View could irreparably harm their brand. The show's once solid financial foundation started crumbling overnight. Inside The View's studios, pure chaos. Producers were reportedly furious at the hosts, blaming them for pushing the narrative too far. Some staff members resigned on the spot, unwilling to go down with a sinking ship. The remaining cast and crew were left in a state of paranoia, uncertain of their own futures. And it didn't stop there. ABC executives were now facing the unthinkable. Was The View even salvageable? Could they possibly keep it afloat after suffering such a massive legal and financial blow? With pressure mounting from investors, advertisers, and the public, the network was left with only two options: completely overhaul the show or shut it down for good. Carrie Underwood's victory wasn't just about the money. It was a reckoning that would change television forever. Now, the future of The View is hanging by a thread. Inside sources reveal that ABC executives are holding emergency meetings to determine what comes next. The network is reportedly considering a complete overhaul, and that means big names could be on the chopping block.
Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are.
One of the first to feel the heat, Behar. A longtime face of The View, she's now under serious pressure to step down. While she's always been one of the most outspoken hosts, insiders claim that ABC execs see her as too much of a liability in the wake of the lawsuit. Will she step down voluntarily, or will ABC be forced to make a tough call? Sunny Hostin is also in trouble. Her comments were some of the most damaging, and legal experts say her role in the controversy makes her an easy target for executives looking to clean house. Some reports even suggest she's already negotiating an exit package to quietly disappear from the show. And then there's Whoopi Goldberg. Normally, she's quick to defend her co-hosts, but this time, silence. That has fueled speculation that she might be reconsidering her own place on the show. Could The View be heading toward a complete reboot? Or worse, could it be on the verge of cancellation? Meanwhile, while The View spirals into uncertainty, Carrie Underwood has done the impossible. She's emerged stronger than ever. Instead of being silenced, she's using this moment to redefine her career, reshape her narrative, and inspire millions. Her fans, more loyal than ever. Country music lovers who once stayed quiet are now loudly supporting her, flooding social media with messages of encouragement and rallying behind her at concerts. What was once a controversy has now turned into a movement. Carrie is no longer just a country singer. She's a symbol of standing your ground against media manipulation. And it's showing. Her concert ticket sales have skyrocketed. Venues that hesitated to book her before, now they're selling out in record time. Her latest album, which was initially overshadowed by the controversy, has resurfaced at the top of the charts, proving that her music is stronger than any media smear campaign. Sponsors that once hesitated are now lining up to work with her again. Brands that distanced themselves at the height of the controversy are now scrambling to get back in her good graces. Some have even issued public apologies, acknowledging they acted too quickly in cutting ties. Major companies see her as a symbol of resilience, a figure who didn't cave under pressure but instead came back stronger. And now, with The View facing its own reckoning, Underwood is moving forward completely unstoppable. This wasn't a career-ending moment, it was a career-defining one. Carrie Underwood didn't just survive the storm, she became the storm. And the world, they're watching. Now, the future of The View is hanging by a thread. Inside sources reveal that ABC executives are holding emergency meetings to determine what comes next. The network is reportedly considering a complete overhaul, and that means major changes, including possible firings and a dramatic shift in tone.
Well, that wasn't good enough for the tolerant left, of course, who is outraged over Carrie being outed as MAGA. X is blowing up with jokes about how she should sing her hit song before he cheats. Some are calling for her to be boycotted and canceled. John Rich weighed in, saying there are several top-tier country artists who support Trump, and I wish they'd finally have the balls to come forward and be counted. Ain't nothing outlaw about keeping your mouth shut to appease the record label. Carrie Underwood is making you look like a bunch of sissy boys.
One of the first to feel the heat, Behar. A longtime face of The View, she's now under serious pressure to step down. While she's always been one of the most outspoken hosts, insiders claim that ABC execs see her as too much of a liability in the wake of the lawsuit. Behind the scenes, there are rumors that she has already been asked to retire, but will she go quietly, or will ABC be forced to make a brutal public decision? Sunny Hostin is also in deep trouble. Her comments were some of the most damaging, and legal experts say her role in the controversy makes her an easy target for executives looking to clean house. Reports suggest she's already negotiating an exit package, attempting to quietly fade from the spotlight before the damage gets worse. Sources inside ABC claim the network wants to cut ties as soon as possible to avoid further fallout. And then there's Whoopi Goldberg. Normally, she's quick to defend her co-hosts, but this time, silence. That has fueled speculation that she might be reconsidering her own place on the show. Could she be sensing the end and planning her own exit strategy? Some reports even suggest that Whoopi, seeing the writing on the wall, may jump ship before she's forced out. ABC executives are desperate to salvage the brand, but the damage might already be done. Ratings have plummeted, advertisers are reconsidering their partnerships, and industry insiders claim the show is now seen as a sinking ship. Could The View be heading toward a complete reboot? Or worse, cancellation? Rumors are swirling that ABC has discussed pulling the plug entirely, cutting its losses rather than prolonging a scandal that won't go away. Some execs believe a fresh start with an entirely new cast could save the brand, while others argue that the show is too toxic to continue in its current format. The network is running out of time to make a decision. Will they sacrifice their biggest stars in an attempt to save the show, or is this the beginning of the end for The View? Meanwhile, while The View spirals into uncertainty and turmoil, Carrie Underwood has done the impossible. She's emerged stronger than ever. Instead of crumbling under the weight of the controversy, she's turned it into a moment of triumph, proving once again why she's one of the most resilient and unstoppable forces in country music. Her fans, more loyal than ever. What started as a divisive media attack has now fueled an unstoppable wave of support. Country music lovers who once stayed quiet are now loudly championing her, calling out the media bias and rallying behind her at concerts, on social media, and in every public space imaginable. The backlash didn't silence her, it amplified her reach, making her a symbol of integrity and perseverance. And it's paying off in a big way. Concert ticket sales have skyrocketed, breaking previous records and forcing venues to add extra dates due to overwhelming demand. Once hesitant venues are now begging to book her, realizing that Underwood's name alone guarantees sold-out crowds and massive revenue. But that's just the beginning. Sponsors that once hesitated, they're back and in bigger numbers than before.
Words help me out here. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray.
Major brands see her as the ultimate symbol of resilience, a figure who didn't cave under pressure but stood her ground and came out victorious. Some brands that initially distanced themselves have even issued public apologies, eager to restore their relationships with her. Underwood has now cemented herself as more than just a country singer. She's a movement. She's proven that mainstream media smear campaigns don't define a person's career. Talent, perseverance, and the unwavering support of fans do. And while The View scrambles to survive, Carrie Underwood is soaring to new heights. This wasn't just a career-defining moment, it was a career revolution. Carrie Underwood didn't just survive this storm, she became the storm. And the world, they're watching. But this lawsuit didn't just shake up The View, it changed the entire media landscape. The fallout has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, and now the rules of engagement are being rewritten. The big question, what happens next? Should talk shows be allowed to spread falsehoods without consequences, or will this lawsuit force networks to rethink their approach to commentary and criticism? Media executives across all major networks are now scrambling to reassess their legal risks, worried that The View's downfall could set a precedent that affects them all. No show is safe anymore. Some fear this ruling might have a chilling effect on free speech. If public figures start suing every time they're criticized, will it create a world where media outlets are too afraid to speak out? Legal experts are already debating whether this case has set the stage for more high-profile defamation lawsuits, ones that could fundamentally alter the relationship between celebrities and the press. On the other hand, supporters of Underwood's case say this is long overdue. They argue that media accountability has been missing for far too long, and this case sets a new precedent, a warning that reckless attacks disguised as opinions will come with consequences. Journalists and talk show hosts are now on notice. The days of unchecked defamation may be coming to an end. And with The View in meltdown mode, the entire media world is reassessing its tactics. Networks are watching. Hosts are reconsidering their words. Some have even begun issuing on-air disclaimers before making bold claims about public figures, something that was almost unheard of before this lawsuit. One thing is clear. This case didn't just end in a courtroom, it changed everything. So, what do you think? Will ABC pull the plug on The View to avoid further controversy? Will more celebrities start fighting back against reckless media attacks? Will this ruling lead to a new era of responsible journalism or a silenced media landscape? One thing's for sure, this isn't over. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because this is just the beginning.